All right, folks, welcome in here. We are doing our live stream. It is 12:42 a.m. coming up on that here on this very early Wednesday morning. We're streaming live. We are on several of our platforms here. Give us a shout out if you can see and hear us okay. I always like to make sure that everybody's able to catch the signal here and be able to hear us without any issues. Also, let us know where you are watching from tonight. We're going to start to talk about some of this severe weather potential as we get into the very early morning hours of this Wednesday and show you some of the storms that we're tracking here and just kind of how things may evolve. We're also going to be checking in here in a little bit with meteorologist Jacob Dickey. He is out in the storm tracker. So again, just give us that shout out. So you can see right there, we got tower cams there. Jacob's down there in the corner of your screen. As you can see, he's driving. We'll be talking with him here in a little bit. The big thing here so far is this storm that has been severe thunderstorm warned that we have been able to track here moving into McLean County, and once did have a tornado warning on it a little bit more to the west. And so you can see here this storm that's coming right into Bloomington Normal right now over the Danvers area, McLean, and there are some decently strong winds that are within our cell there, and we can look at that. And we're looking at some of these colors here. And you get into these little pinks and almost beige colors there, and that's where you're going to have some strong winds. So Bloomington, Normal coming in. We're going to see that. Okay, guys, Jacob Dickey is with us, and we're going to pull him in here. He is actually, hold on. I'm going to pull in his little icon because it's always fun. We can track where Jacob is. And so there he is right there. You can see him on the screen. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit a little button and hopefully find out where his location is here tonight. And Jacob, I don't know if your audio is here with us or not, but tell us where you're at here tonight and kind of what you're seeing over there. I think you're over there on that storm, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. I am just south of Bloomington by about 2 miles here and looking off to the west. This is Shirley Road here from 51. And so to my right is Bloomington. I can see the 51-74 interchange, maybe a mile or two north. And then when you get the 55 split kind of to my front right here, and then we're looking more to the west. Kind of got a couple little bands of these rain and thunderstorms coming on in. Earlier, there was some fairly decent rotation. It's going to be in your Topeka and Forest City and Green Valley and Delavan. That has since broadened and weakened. Nothing really sticks out to me. This storm does have a tornado possible tag. There's still some wind shear. There's still some instability. It doesn't look like it's coming together right now, but it's just in an environment that we have to watch here. Lots of lightning, and there'll be some torrential rain coming into Bloomington, and probably a little bit of hail as well. Could be some ping pong ball size hail. Sounds like there were some reports of that there. Of course, we're getting a view of some of that lightning as it's rolling into town now. So I'll probably take a little gander north and then backtrack down 74 towards Downs and Leroy to stay ahead of it here. But this is, I think, going to be the one storm, Kevin, because I look at the rain and storm activity from Lincoln towards Springfield and towards Jacksonville. It seems like that is kicking out a rain-cooled boundary to the south. That's going to limit any severe potential with those. This might be the one storm we have to watch, and then we just kind of slowly see what happens the rest of that. So we'll have an update here in a minute. Severe thunderstorm warning continues in McLean County. I am right here, and it'll probably start to rain any second.
Yeah, I've got your
location is, Kevin.
I've got your icon pulled up here now on the screen. So if we can, we'll take this and see. Here's Jacob right there. We've got the nice little icon that tracks where he's at. So you can see there's Bloomington, and then Randolph, and he is right there. And so he's about to get overtaken by that line of rain and storms. He tries to stay ahead of it there, so he kind of stays out of the rain. So he's going to be moving and staying ahead of this. But he is currently in that severe thunderstorm warned area where the potential is for those damaging straight line winds. And we'll check back with him here in just a little bit. The severe thunderstorm warning no longer in effect for DeWitt and Logan County there, just still kind of hanging out there through portions of McLean County. But this is going to be coming in. Let's see. We've got his camera there, but also I can pull up our camera that is in Bloomington and Normal. We've got a couple different cameras that we're going to be able to kind of show off here. And so I'm going to do that here as we speak and see what it's doing there in Bloomington. Again, on his screen, you're going to see that lightning, but also on our camera here in Bloomington, lighting up the sky. I mean, that's quite a bit of lightning there with that storm, which can sometimes be a little bit of an indicator of, maybe a strengthening storm. So look at that. You can see probably the wind and rain are about to pick up. We've got another camera that's actually in Normal that I can also pull up. And so let's see what that one's doing. Probably going to see something similar. It's a little foggy there, but still, there's your lightning showing up. So if you're out there watching in the Bloomington Normal area, we're tracking this for you here in McLean County, doing some kind of late night, early morning digital coverage for you. Got myself here in the studio, Jacob in the Storm Tracker. Madison is back there punching and doing all the production stuff here for us here tonight. So I know a lot of you, have been on pins and needles with this severe threat. A lot of you have been, kind of wondering how this is going to evolve, have that storm anxiety, and we get it. So we wanted to be able to come on here and just kind of tell you what's happening. The only warning that we've got right now currently is here in McLean County. They're impacting the Bloomington Normal area as we speak, just north there and maybe towards Hayworth. I think that some of the stronger winds on this just starting to enter into the Bloomington Normal area here right now. But obviously all that lightning showing up is something that we're watching here as well. Jacob's gotten back into the rain. As you can see, that's him on the bottom right-hand part of the screen there. And you can see it's almost interesting because we've got our camera here, and then, of course, Jacob down there, and you'll see the flashes of lightning, and, maybe there might be a slight delay, but you'll see one flash of lightning, then it'll show up on the other camera view that we've got there. But he's there right now, and, man, you're in it. Jacob, you're right there. He's that rain seems like it was coming down there pretty good.
Yeah, you're right, Kevin. The lightning's fairly. Ooh, there was a big bolt right in front of me there. Pretty intense to see. Big old rumble with that one. That one's maybe half mile in front of me there. So a little bit of rain. You can see where I'm at. I'm at the interchange there on 51, and then where 74 splits off to go to the east towards Champaign, back towards home. Looks like a car might be stopping under the bridge up there. That's not something. Whoa, that was another big lightning strike there. So getting quite a bit of that lightning here, and kind of had a little first wave of rain coming on in. There's going to be plenty of noisy lightning and thunder. Maybe you're right, that wind might be just a little bit behind that. So going to sit here and watch for a minute before we get back on the interstate, head to the east to stick ahead of this a little bit. But certainly some wind and maybe some hail with this, a little bit of a break. But as I kind of zoom in here a little bit, I might need to turn on my defroster a little bit to clear that up. I don't know if you're able to see very well.
A little fog.
Some of that rain starting to kick back on in here. Yeah, a little bit. So that's what we're dealing with. We'll have more updates. Give me about 30 seconds. I think we'll see that next round of wind and rain come on.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, that wind's probably kind of coming at you there. I did pull up your icon again and then pulled up the lightning strikes, and you can see just how close some of those lightning strikes are to Jacob, probably just west of you. And that's the interesting thing. You're getting the rain, but actually some of that lightning's kind of lagging behind on the backside where some of those stronger winds are located. So, and you're probably just now going to start to get hit by some of those stronger winds there. So let's come back to Jacob's shot there. He's got the rain really coming down again. He is directly there. You're right there on 74. Right, you're right there on the
51
and 51 there. Yeah.
Yeah, so starting to get that little second wave here, and it looks like the wind may be picking up. I don't think this is the biggest storm ever, and, I like where we sit right now. We'll have to keep a watch, and storm is a little further to the south and west, but looking at how things are going at this point, this might be the best case scenario for the rest of the night here. Because here's the good thing is there's been some areas, Kevin, that didn't get a lot of rain this past week. These storms are kind of lining up to throw that rain north of I-74. So maybe this is going to be a good night in that sense, and also in the sense that a bigger severe weather threat overnight doesn't materialize. But we just have to watch it because there's a little bit of that wind instability in that shear. Tornado watch does continue until 2 a.m. for some of our counties out there, Kevin.
Yeah, it does. And that's the thing that actually happened, a little bit after our 10 o'clock newscast. Ooh, is that a nice little bolt there? Woo, getting some of that lightning over there, Jacob. Yeah, there's quite a bit of lightning on that storm, indicating, maybe that thing trying to, strengthen just a little bit. I got to tell you, the winds in there aren't bad. We're sampling at about, let me see here, only at about 1,700 feet. And there's some 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts there. Do you think that was probably right when it came across? Did you think you got anything even close to that, or?
No, Kevin, I really didn't at my particular spot. Sometimes you get the car rocking and rolling. It didn't really move a whole lot.
Yeah.
I would say there was probably gusts of 30 to 40 in there, but it kind of looks like it's little pockets of it. So, it's not a big wind bag like a squall line. Think of the derecho where everyone gets just raked by the wind here. It's more just these little pockets to me that maybe are the case. So there may have been one just to my south, maybe another one just in front of me. So might have squeezed on through. I'm sure there's some strong gusts of wind. I'm kind of in a little bit of a hole here in the middle. So, soon I'll get the next little wave that kind of comes on in. But, I haven't seen really any hail either. And that's something I'm okay with. Some of that hail earlier today. I'm glad we're not going to deal with what they did up in Kankakee County, Kevin.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that with you a little bit later, recapping some of the stuff you saw in Pontiac and in Kankakee, and maybe roll some of that video from earlier. But for those that are tuning in here tonight, wanting to know what's going on, we have a tornado watch in effect until 2 a.m. These are the counties that are under that watch. And yeah, it's Champaign, it's Vermilion, it's Pike, it's Macon, Sangamon. You may be asking, well, what about some of the other southern counties here? It looks like potentially those storms could weaken enough to where we wouldn't have to worry about that tornadic threat for those other areas. Something that is still evolving and we can check out. But what we can do is kind of look at some of the weather models and look at kind of the short-term, views of just what they're saying with these storms as they, sort of evolve into a little bit of a line. What's super interesting is how the models want to actually try to bring the storms back up in intensity a little bit over the next few hours. So let me try to pull that up here for you. And kind of show you what exactly some of the models are trying to say about this upcoming potential storm. And so we've got, this complex that's developing here to the west. And so it wants to try to eventually bring in some of these storms here in the next few hours. Now, I'm going to do something here just on the fly. I'm going to see if I can actually do it or not. But I'm going to switch the model up because this model actually does run every single hour. And so I'm going to try to see if this will allow me to. Okay, yeah, so this is pretty good here. So this is the new one that just came out. So it's got this little line of storms trying to develop. And notice as it kind of kicks off here to the east, it builds a little bit more to the south and west there towards Springfield. And eventually there, kind of Decatur. And while there are individual, there's kind of, a long line there are some little individual areas there on the south end there where, hey, maybe that's a little bit more by itself. Maybe that's, a little bit of a line segment that could produce some severe weather. And then it looks to be a little bit more of a wind thing there to early tomorrow morning. So the models have been pretty consistent in wanting to do this. And this, again, I know it's almost 1 a.m., but it's wanting to keep some of this together through 3 o'clock in the morning. Will that happen or not? It's tough to say. We're kind of doing the now casting thing. We almost have to kind of just, the models are the models and throw them out. And it's more of just, okay, what's the radar showing with these? Well, right now you've got the strongest storm that just kind of passed through the Bloomington normal area. That's going to continue to go north and east. And maybe that eventually gets into, Ford County there. But what we watch for is back here to the south and west. And nothing here is looking too out of control. But this is just one of those scenarios where you may not have anything going on. And all of a sudden, 15 minutes later, the storm strengthens a little bit. So that's Springfield. And then as we look back out here to the west, there are still some storms out here across Missouri. Okay. And this is what eventually may start to come through overnight, early tomorrow morning. We're watching this stuff towards Quincy, south of Quincy now. That's looking a little bit stronger, okay? So let's show you the last 45 minutes of the kind of the storm progression here. Notice there's also some other little cells that are trying to develop back down here to, the south, okay? And so a couple little guys down here. And so while these storms essentially move north and east through here, we're looking for any other development that could occur and eventually maybe push along this I-72 corridor and work its way in to Springfield and Decatur and Monticello and Champaign later into tonight. And that's kind of the scenario that has set up here for us so far. Nothing immediate, but as we kind of just look back to the west, there's still that potential. The tornado watch is in effect until 2 a.m. Let's see here. We did get a couple storm reports that did come in. This was up more into the Tazewell County area. They had some 1.25-inch hail, and it looks like maybe even a little bit of wind damage up that way. Several power poles snapped, along with lines damaged 1 mile west of Green Valley. And that's with those storms that came through a little bit earlier. So there's a little bit of a wind component to the storms that we've had here so far. Looks like some other reports of maybe some thunderstorm wind damage there as well, again, in Tazewell County, just to the north and west there of McLean County. So that's what we've got here right now. Jacob's back out there. Let's see if we can't pull up his little spotter location and just check in and see where he's at. And then Jacob, there you are. So it looks like you're cruising back down 74, it looks like.
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. And just taking it slow here. I'm actually catching a bit of a crosswind from here where I'm at. I'm going to be due south now at the airport in Bloomington on Tawanda Barnes Road. The bridge right up here is about to go under is Tawanda Barnes Road. Okay. And here we go. Here's that bridge right there. So that gives folks a little reference of where I'm at. There's that stoplight at Shamrock there near Gillum and just northwest of Downs. Right to my left there's the Freedom gas station that's there. And so I'll be at the Downs exit in about a mile. Gonna kind of keep going southeast, I think, here, Kevin.
Yeah, why not?
I'm not sure your thoughts. I don't want to miss this storm, but I kind of think it's not as impressive. I mean, gonna need to watch it still. And the rain is nice, but just want to make sure that I'm leaving options further to the south and east as well, open on that. Because as you're saying, sometimes the models kind of bring these storms in and want to intensify. But you're right, we got a nowcast now, and so we'll just keep kind of watching things and see how things go. Hopefully we get a little early night here. It's just a nice drive back to Champaign. But if not, we'll be here out as late as needed. Keep the folks informed of what's going on, Kevin.
All right. So, yeah, great. And it's 1 a.m., 1 o'clock in the morning. And here's what I want to tell people. And in just a second, Jacob, we're going to have Madison roll the video here in just a second of your Kankakee stuff. So stand by to talk a little bit about that. But I just want to kind of tell people here, 1 o'clock in the morning, there is still that severe weather threat. We still have a tornado watch until 2 a.m. There's nothing immediate that has me overly concerned. There's a decent storm that's going to be coming through McLean County there towards the Lexington area. But even it doesn't have a warning anymore with it. So, that's something. We're watching this line. We're watching these cells back to the south and west. See if they can start to develop and kick up just a little bit more. I won't be surprised if we start to see a little bit. We have something called the low-level jet that kicks in at nighttime. And so sometimes that can kind of enhance things a little bit. So Here's the thing. Earlier tonight, we had one heck of a storm kind of came through Livingston County, the Pontiac area, then eventually kind of came through over here towards the Kankakee area. And that was a really bad storm that obviously kind of came through, and tornado with damage. And Jacob was there. And so here's the video. We're rolling the video right now, Jacob, showing that tornado. Talk a little bit about what you saw there.
Yeah, so to kind of lay the groundwork, Kevin, we saw that storm first start to develop there to the south and west of Bloomington, and it kind of lifted north and east. Once it got to Livingston County, then you saw that turn to the right where it went more east-northeast, and that's when things started to rotate. So it had that strong rotation right out of the gate during the 4 o'clock hour in Pontiac. And then this video is from Kankakee. Once it got to Kankakee, a couple of things happened. We've had a lot of talk about that warm front. Well, the lake breeze kind of pushed that warm front a little bit to the south there into Kankakee County. And because of that, this storm was able to latch on that. And we kind of watched pretty quickly once that storm passed by Cabery and Ford County and on its way into Kankakee County. It was really intensifying. So we went from no tornado, weak rotation, to a strong tornado on the ground in a very short period of time, touching down on the southwest side of Kankakee. And afterwards, Kevin, I'm not sure if the video shows the damage or if it's just the tornado, but afterwards, then we started getting that damage. Now, this tornado, Kevin, may have been on the ground all the way from the south side of Kankakee all the way into Indiana. There's been some substantial damage reported in Lake Village, Indiana, and then as well over into the Wheatland, Indiana area, because Wheatfield, Indiana, because the storm just rode that boundary off to the east and northeast. And when these storms latch onto those warm fronts, that's where they could go really wild. That was our big concern, that conditional high-impact threat for the afternoon focused on along and south of that warm front, and that's what the storm was able to do, Kevin.
Yeah, definitely. That was an impressive video there with that tornado. We'll see what they eventually go and rate that, probably tomorrow or Thursday when they complete it. But the other thing that we had a ton of, Jacob, and you were doing your best to stay out of it. And it's a good thing because the storm tracker may have met its final days if you got into what I'm showing here, which is 5-inch size hail. Now, this is campus. Some say if you blink, you might miss it, but it's a little small town there in Livingston County. And that is a hailstone of 5 inches. That is bigger than a softball, which is pretty wild. Talk about some of the hail component there that you were kind of dodging and staying out of, while many other chasers we found out today got into that hail, ruined their cars, and ended their day.
Well, Kevin, I felt like maybe our bosses would not have liked me driving the storm tracker into that hail, and we knew the hail potential was going to be there today in those isolated storms. I don't know if I was expecting 5-inch hail. I mean, that's the size of a DVD, if not a little bit bigger than that. And I was only a couple of miles south there, but you get up into that storm and wrapping around even to the backside where the tornadic circulations were, those hailstones were ginormous. We just had a really rare setup of some high instability, some dry air aloft, plenty of intense rising motion to produce that there. And at one point, Kevin, once we got to the damaged area in Kankakee where the tornado had occurred, at one point I thought, well, look at all the damage in this field. It looked like insulation from buildings that have been destroyed. An hour later, there were still baseball-sized hailstones laying all over the place. And that was something else to see there. Again, yeah, there are some chasers that get up and closer to that. I had a little hail incident back in 2014 in Tuscola, I think it was. And I think I got a little PTSD from this. I don't really like to mess with hail too much. That's what there are some softballs down there in Tuscola. I mean, this is going to be the state record. The largest hailstone recorded in Illinois. Is that what we're looking at, Kevin?
It seems like it potentially. It was one of the, it was one of the reports. We'll see when they filter all these out. Just if that was the biggest one, but that was a 5-inch one that I received, and she measured it with the tape measure. So there's no ambiguity about it. I mean, there was a 5-inch hailstone, so pretty interesting there. So that could be the new record for the state. So we'll see how that plays out. Just to kind of talk about, I pulled up our warm front here to kind of show its position, and that front now starting to kind of even pass a little bit, south through Livingston County and getting close to McLean County. Still that warm sector. It's still 68 in Champaign. It's still 71 in Effingham. It's still 69 in Springfield. Look at Galesburg, though. They're at 47. St. Louis is 71. Quincy's at 59. So still that warm sector. You may be saying, what's going on with Kankakee? Why does it show 0? Well, it shows 0 because they don't have any power over there. After that tornado came through on the south side of town and near the Aroma Park area, there's thousands of people without power. Obviously, after that tornado came through, Jacob showed so many of those power poles that were down in that area. So again, this is why there is still the potential for severe storms to occur. And it just because I've got this graphic to pull up here, hail, hail sizes, the hail that we actually saw today up that way is bigger than the graphic that we have here. Okay, we talk about quarter size, golf ball, tennis ball, baseball, softball, grapefruits, bigger than grapefruit size hail. So that is just kind of a wild thought to think about what they had up there. Yeah, DVD size of hail. So pretty amazing. Okay, let's come back to the radar here. And hello to everybody that is with us here this morning. Give us a shout out where you're watching from. Here's some good news so far. There are no warnings in effect. None. No warnings right now. The strongest storm here, probably down towards the Ellsworth area, which, what is that thing trying to do? Let me just look at something here real quick. Let's see.
I got a little update for you.
You got a little update? Fire away, Jacob.
Yeah, so a couple things that I'm noticing. Actually, to me, the lightning has almost disappeared in this storm. I'm getting, before we were getting flashes every minute or every few seconds. Now it seems like every 30 seconds or so there's a flash of lightning. I do see that little thing by Ellsworth, but, we're going to have to watch it as it moves to the east there because that warm front is close by. But I think that warm front may be starting to push a little south, and that may favor undercutting these storms and keeping them from being able to develop. When it's stationary and kind of stalled like it was by Kankakee, that's a good, let me rephrase my wording there. That's a scenario that's supported for tornadoes. When those fronts start to retrograde and move back to the south, they almost become cold fronts in that sense. That can sometimes cut them off. So hopefully the storm doesn't latch on. So we'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, I kind of see that little appendage there, but nothing imminent. And I'm looking that way, and no lightning up there helping out. So I'm going to get off here in 136 and then drive over to 54 back towards the Gibson City area just to keep it in play here. But we'll have another report coming up in a bit, Kevin.
Okay. So, yeah, we've still got a few lightning strikes on that cell there, but nothing too out of control. I will say this, and let me try to pull it up. The Weather Service started cutting back on the tornado watch counties, and we'll show it to you here. Now, this, not for our area, but up here towards Peoria, no longer with that tornado watch. So this is that corridor that you see right through here: Vermilion, Champaign, Pike, DeWitt, Macon, McLean, Logan, Menard, Sangamon, Cass, and Morgan counties with the tornado watch until 2 a.m. Right now, there are no warnings in effect, no warnings, but the tornado watch, which means that the conditions are still favorable for the potential for severe storms to develop and potentially have the tornadic component attached to them. It's not a for sure thing. It's like I said, it's still 70. If you've been out at all, it's still pretty warm. Feels like you could get a thunderstorm. I am seeing maybe a little bit of an uptick in some of the cells here south and west of Springfield, looking a little bit more. Also, a couple little guys just trying to pop up down here into Piatt County. I mean, it's nothing big, but there's a tiny little cell. It's down here right over Beamont. You've got a little shower that has developed. So, and again, it's just showing that, the atmosphere is still unstable here tonight as these little cells begin to pop up. So now it's just kind of a waiting game, watching the radar, looking at each storm, seeing if there's anything in. any of these. So far, pretty raggedy, pretty unorganized, but we will watch these storms here. I think the next thing that we're going to watch is precisely this, or these little guys that we're looking at right here that have a little bit of an uptick in the reflectivity. You see the reds and some purples trying to get going. Still, nothing looking out of control with that, but that's kind of the beginning again. And these are, we call these kind of tail end Charlies. They're on the south part of, of the line of the storms, a little bit more unimpeded to anything that, would kind of rob it from its moisture source. So we just kind of look at that. That's just something, when we're analyzing radar. Notice the stuff up here. Notice the stuff here looks, just not as, it's a little bit more raggedy. You see more of the greens and the blues, but now you get down here, more intense of reds, a little bit more of a core to some of those. So we'll watch how this evolves, because the storms that you see here that I've basically outlined are storms that are going to go to the north and east, over the next hour or two. And that's kind of the concern, is if any of those storms can start to tap into some of the better instability and shear that essentially is still in place, you can run into that. Let me see if I can't pull up another little parameter here. And I'm going to try to do this with my computer. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys something else, and this is essentially going to show off what's known as the instability for the area. Okay, and instability, fuel needed for thunderstorms to maintain themselves. Now, in order to get massive, big tornadoes, you need a lot of instability. We don't have a lot of that. We had a lot of it earlier. We had some 2,000, 2,500, what we call CAPE. Okay, that's the measure for the instability, convective available potential energy. Those numbers are lower now. Okay, they're more into the 1,000 range, and that's what you're seeing here with some of these colors. About 1,000 CAPE. Let me tell you, 1,000 CAPE is still decent for storms to tap into. The other component we look at is something called wind shear. And boy, we've got that shear that's right here, basically Springfield, eastward Taylorville, Decatur, Champaign, those areas there, lots of shear. Then we overlap the two of those, and we get this component here that kind of shows, okay, this is where you could still have thunderstorms going. I'll just kind of show you as well. If you look at some of the numbers here, I know they're kind of small, so maybe we'll take that full for you again. But the number you see there is the dew point. And notice the dew point is 64 in Decatur and in Champaign and in Taylorville, but it's 54 in Springfield. It's 53 in Jacksonville, 57 in Peoria. So there's still this area through here where maybe these storms could tap into some of that moisture. Then you look at the temperature, and you're still into the 60s here, but it's this dew point number that kind of has my curiosity peaked, because we've had some storms there, so the dew points have come down a little bit. You need dew points really into the low 60s, temperatures at least into the 60s, and we've got that. We call you basically, you take the temperature and the dew point number and you say them back to back, and it's, for example, 69 over 64 for Decatur. So 69 over 64. That's decent. That's enough. Then you look for, okay, do we have the instability? Well, there's some of your instability there. Do we have some of the shear? All right, we've got a little shear. So there could still be that potential for storms to strengthen a little bit. So that's what we're watching here in terms of the radar. Well, let's kind of keep it on this for a second. Here's that storm we were looking at earlier near Colfax. If you're watching up near Colfax and Anchor, you might have some small hail in there, maybe some gusty winds kicking up as well. We're seeing that. And then some other activity. This is a little bit more unorganized. Leroy, nothing really of note. Clinton, nothing really about Pulaski. But then you get down here again. I come back down to these kind of southern storms, Waverly, okay, Auburn. Can those guys cross I-55 and organize themselves a little bit more? That is the question today. Also, you can notice there is an outflow boundary. Look at this outflow boundary. Do you see this little thin area right through there? Rain-cooled air that comes off of some of these showers and storms, okay, sometimes can act as like a little mini front, and maybe sometimes it can spawn some storms. Always something to watch with cell interactions there. But we'll just kind of have to see how that plays out over the next hour or so. And that's kind of what we're looking at here so far. But nothing right now has me going, whoa, look out. You need to, immediately pay attention to this. But it is definitely something that we've got to just continue to monitor because, again, that tornado watch still in effect until 2 a.m. here, folks. 2 a.m. Yeah, Jacob, go ahead.
Hey, I'm coming up to 54 here and hearing you talk, but just want to get your thoughts if I should go to the north and east towards Gibson or if I maybe get over to Fisher and drop south to Mahomet to keep those southern storms in play. Just a little late night, what your thoughts are and how I should maneuver things here since I'm coming up to a little pivot here of where I can go one way or the other.
All right, so let me.
Mom's already in bed, so.
Yeah, so let me look again. Your location. So you're over there.
54 and 136.
Okay, gotcha. 54 and 136. So you're there coming up southwest of Bellflower. I mean, some of those little cells are trying to get going a little bit more down towards Decatur. I mean, some of that stuff down there in southern Sangamon County is looking a little bit better. It's just, is it going to organize much at all? I don't know. Maybe you need to dive south a little bit.
All right. Well, I'll head over to Fisher and come south on 47 and
get on 47 there and
into Mahomet.
And just kind of see.
Leave things open.
Yeah, I mean, we've got all these little guys that are starting to, develop just a little bit, looking a little bit more impressive on radar than when it did just a little bit earlier. So, yeah.
The other thing that stands out to me with this too, Kevin, is I think there's going to be some heavier pockets of rain somewhere, which no complaints about that. March has been a complete turnaround from the last, couple of years again, I think. Was it 14 months in a row below average, and then we blew it out of the water in week 1 of March?
Yeah, definitely. We didn't have anything, and so now we're getting all of this great rain. Keep the trend going, a few inches a week, and we'll get out of this drought by May, right? If that would happen. So that would be pretty cool, but still got a long way to go.
Yeah, if we kept the drought around, you and I were talking some about, okay, if you end up dry and below normal going into planting season and into the summer, we were a little worried about some of that heat potential, but I like where we are and I like the way trends are, but we need a lot of rain. So if we can keep that couple inches, you're right. This will put us in a better position. Maybe not get rid of it, but we'll see what the future brings. But we'll take all the rain we can get. Nobody's allowed to complain about any rain that comes on it. And hopefully we keep it rain the rest of the night. But if not, we're here. So
sounds good.
Back to you, Kevin.
Okay, while we got just a second here while we're watching these storms evolve a little bit, I do just want to talk about something else, and that is our weather call system. And that is where you can get a phone call literally from us. Phone call from us in the event of warnings. And listen, people say this all the time, like, well, why do I need that? I've got a weather radio, or I've got I've got the weather app that you talk about, or I've got, I watch you on TV or watch on social media, and that's fine. That's great. And that works for a good majority of people. But there are some people that don't have great internet. They live in a rural area. They don't have a smartphone. They don't have a computer. A little old school. They want the phone to ring. Could be, maybe they've got a landline. That's still possible. Or you can use your cell phone too. And you can get a phone call. If you are in the tornado warning polygon or severe thunderstorm warning polygon, then you will get a phone call from me. And it'll be like, what's up? I don't say what's up. That'd be kind of cool if it did, though, wouldn't it? There's a tornado warning in your area. I could really customize it. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? No, you get the warning. It's through the phone call there. And for some people, that's going to wake you up at 1:21 in the morning as opposed to a ding on your cell phone. You're fast asleep, right? So those app notifications, they work great during the day probably for you because you're always looking at your phone. But at 1:21 in the morning when you're fast asleep, I sleep pretty heavily, so that probably wouldn't wake me up, but a phone call would. So again, what I've got here, I'm just going to pop this up. That's on the live stream there. If you scan the QR code, either the one there on your screen, the one on my TV screen, either one, you're going to be able to go to the webpage there to sign up for weather call. Well worth it for those of you that you want that. Listen, if it ain't for you, that's great. But I hope you've got the weather radio. I hope you've got something else like the weather app, or you're just watching us all the time. You can watch us all the time too. We'll take that as well. Okay. And if you want to download the weather app, you can scan that code as well. All right. I'm looking at that storm near Chatham. That thing is just dumping a lot of rain. There's a little bit of hail trying to start to form in that Chatham storm. Also on the storm near Mount Zion, that one trying to start to bring a little bit of hail maybe. Okay, so let's bring her back to radar now. And again, thanks for so many of you that are still kind of hanging out here with us tonight on the live stream. All right, let's kind of show you the storms here again that we're watching. Look just how much more that's intensified. Now, this doesn't look terribly ominous at this point, but you're dumping some rain there on southwestern Sangamon County, basically south of 72, near Chatham, and then Loama and Auburn. And then we've got these other little cells that are trying to get going here into Macon County, right over Mount Zion. Let me see if we're getting any lightning out of these. Oh, yeah. Okay, so the lightning's really kind of picked up on those cells there in Macon County. So if you're over here near Cerro Gordo, you're probably noticing that. Let's see here. Who do we got? Who do we got in the chat over here with us? As the kids say, what's up, chat? What's up, chat? I'm going to look at some of the locations you guys are tuning in from here as we track some of these storms. Looks like we've got Orienta in the house. Somebody asked, safe to sleep in Danville? Safe to sleep as long as you have a way to get a warning if that comes. But I do think, the further east you get, these storms may hopefully weaken. Yeah, we'll pull up. We got the Decatur Skycam pulled up here. And so we're looking there towards the downtown area there. Again, that storm is going to be southeast of Decatur, but starting to ramp up a little bit down towards Mount Zion. And over there just south of the airport, we're finding some of that. Here come all the towns rolling in. Here we go. Shout out Decatur, Springfield, Mount Zion. It's noisy. Champaign, Fisher, Piper City. More Champaign, Clinton, Decatur, Sullivan, Buckley, Tolono, Lovington, Rantoul, Mattoon, Rapella, Springfield, Hoopson, Georgetown. We got a lot of you here. Okay, cool, guys. So here's a question. Oh, we got a warning? Okay, yep, they just warned on that Springfield cell. Okay, so let's come back over here. Look at some of the details from the Weather Service. They are issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for 1-inch hail. This is a hail and not necessarily a wind-driven warning, okay? They're saying 50-mile-an-hour winds, but 1-inch hail. So I just got a report of some pea-sized hail in Chatham with that storm. Probably ramping up just a little bit more. And there's a little purple area. Now, east of Chatham, that pea-sized hail may be growing a little bit. So we'll watch out for that. Okay. So we've got now this new severe thunderstorm warning in effect. It does include Springfield, although the strongest part definitely is south of Springfield, to be honest with you. And there's starting to be a little bit of rotation in there, actually, believe it or not. Very weak, very weak, very weak, very weak. So I want to stress that. I don't want to scare anybody. But there's a little something in there. So when you look at this here, just the reflectivity, you've got the really heavy rainfall. You get into the purple colors there, and then you're going to be talking about maybe a little bit of hail. But then when we switch things over to velocity, you start to see this. And this is what we're looking at here. You see how there's just a little tad bit of red in there. Okay. Now you're starting to get just maybe a little bit of that circulation. Super weak. Nothing that makes me go, whoa, we need to watch this. But always has to start somewhere, right? So actually, maybe even a couple different areas there that we would kind of look at. But again, I'm not overly concerned about anything at this time, but right there, right there. See that? Okay. So that's what we've got there right now. Heavy rainfall more than anything with that. And that warning goes all the way there to Mechanicsburg, Buffalo.
Macon County severe.
And now Macon County just went severe as well. That one has a little bit more of an interesting warning on it in terms of kind of the positioning, the northeasterly trajectory of that. So there you go there. Jacob currently is going to be repositioning and heading south. He's just told me he's going to be heading towards the Seymour area there. And so here's what we can do. We can find out where he's at. And he's just, would you just come through there at the Fisher? Or are you south of that? No, yeah.
I just came through.
Go ahead.
I just came through. I don't know if you can hear me, Kevin. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I just came through the four-way stop, and I'm going south on 47 now here. And so that's what I'll be doing. I'll cut through Mahomet and then make my way to Seymour down there, and that'll give me the chance to keep that in play. A couple of things that stick out to me. So I think those storms by Springfield, they're kind of lifted north and east. I think that boundary is undercutting them, and that rotation that's kind of brief is just that interaction. But if that boundary keeps moving south, maybe that keeps that a little bit lower on the concern level, and that'd be more hail. But you're right. This storm that's at Decatur here, the boundary is more oriented from southwest to north and east, and it may help to kind of push that along as it moves into Piatt and Champaign County. So that to me is a more interesting storm to look at, just from orientation perspective. That cold pool that's pushing out here. So we'll see. Probably have some lightning to show you here before long, but I'm getting quite a bit of there's a little pop-up activity across Champaign County. So getting some rain now here, actually, as I'm passing the People's Natural Gas plant, coming around the curves here before you cross the Sangamon River Bridge. So that'd be my plan, Kevin. Just can't rule it out. We're here, and as long as we're here, we might as well just do some digital streaming, because it sounds like folks are hearing that thunder and lightning and getting a little of that hail from what you're saying. So
well,
60-mile-an-hour winds and maybe some quarter-size hail coming from Long Creek towards Beeman.
There's a lot of people now that are just waking up. Their phone went off, their weather radio went off, their weather call went off, because if you were in Mount Zion, Cerro Gordo, Beeman, LaPlace, any of those areas, you are getting those notifications there. And the same thing for our southern Sangamon County storm. A lot of people waking up, Mechanicsburg, Buffalo, Buckhart, Rochester. Okay, so here's what we've got going on, folks. Severe thunderstorm warnings, nothing right now tornadic, okay, at this moment. We're carefully monitoring the storms here. Jacob in the storm tracker, it's 1:30 a.m. You can see him on the bottom right of your screen. We were looking at some of our tower cameras there on the top part there. We'll see flashes of lightning every once in a while. That's actually our Springfield camera that you see there. As those storms kind of move through, you can see some of the lightning that is showing up on the storms there in Sangamon County. And we'll eventually be kind of panning our camera around here in Champaign as we look to the south and west as this storm may start to come in a little bit more to southwest Champaign County. So we've got warnings here, and things are starting to kick up just a little bit more of that intensity on some of the cells. So we're carefully monitoring it here for you. Maybe some small hail in that storm that is east of Mount Zion, but also it's just getting kind of messy in terms of the radar. A lot of little cells popping up. I mean, I've got this one that's kind of up here southwest of Monticello. So I'm just going to back the radar up just, I don't know, let's see here, 30 minutes. Okay. This is what we had 30 minutes ago. That's what the radar looked like 30 minutes ago. Watch this. Boom. Okay. 30 minutes ago. Boom. So notice how those storms really did kind of fire up. Okay. So now we're just kind of waiting to see if they can organize it all, get a little bit more put together or not. So again, there's Jacob traveling south. You can see his icon. We'll continue to watch him. So normally you like to, obviously you don't like to, but if you're going to have what we had earlier, if you notice the storm was up near Kankakee and Pontiac earlier, it was one discrete cell by itself on its own, taking in all of the moisture, feeding it off of that instability, taking all of that in to make the monster storm that it did. Okay. And that is different than what we've got tonight. Tonight, these storms are, going to be a little bit less severe, actually quite a bit less severe than probably we had with those tornadic storms earlier, but still could pack a punch with the winds and with the hail that could be in there. We're not going to have 5-inch hail like we had with the storms earlier. So while yes, there is, you need to pay attention. And if we issue any tornado warnings or the Weather Service issue any tornado warnings, go to your safe shelter. Right now, I don't have that. I've got some gusty winds maybe and some hail and a lot of heavy wind and a lot of lightning showing up with our storms here. And Jacob, if you can, I think I might have lost my IFB. I might have lost my battery. My battery went out. I thought that it did. So, Jacob, while I change the battery out here, I'm going to let you take over for a second and talk about the storms, and I'll be back with it here in a second. But you're driving out there. You're driving south. You're seeing some of the lightning. Tell us what else you got going on.
Yeah, Kevin, just rolling into Mahomet now on the north side, and we're kind of heading to the south. Keeping an eye on that storm there. That's near Mount Zion, but you're right. A couple things that might help us here. First off, that cluster of storms from Springfield over to Decatur and off north up towards Clinton and the Gibson City area is kind of surging south and east. So that's going to kind of cut things off and limit the chance for things to rotate. I think the Springfield, Sangamon County stuff, I don't really have a tornado concern there right now. I just think that it's more of the hail threat than anything over there. The boundary is to the south, so those storms are not rooted at the surface. They're kind of elevated. They can't feed on surface air. And if you want tornadoes, you need the surface air to be unstable. The surface area, because colder air is rushing under them, it cuts them off, and basically that prevents tornadoes. So really not concerned about that. Some hail over there seems likely. Some 1-inch hail, quarter-size hail can't be ruled out. Maybe slightly more interested in that Long Creek to Cerro Gordo storm as it lists into the north and east into Piatt County, just because a couple of things happen. One, it's going to collide here with that boundary diving to the south and east, and that may allow for a little bit of enhancement of the storm. Maybe that helps to nudge it along. We'll just see how the interaction goes. Sometimes storms, when they interact and merge, it just wipes them out. It's like a bunch of discombobulated updrafts, and they just kind of, collide and get disorganized, and they're fighting with each other like siblings. On the flip side, though, sometimes when you get those boundaries to interact, it can actually help to increase the spin, albeit very briefly. maybe in this situation. So we're just going to watch and see how that southeast boundary interacts there. So I'm rolling into Mahomet now, and we'll be cutting south towards Seymour, and then probably making my way down to the countryside there to Monticello Road. Seems like a smart play here, and that's probably how I'll do things here, but we'll continue to watch it. I don't see big hail. Again, the threat tonight, the intensity tonight, folks, will be nothing like what has already happened. That's just not going to be something that we're worried about here. We're not going to be dealing with 5-inch hail. We're not going to be dealing with significant tornadoes. We get some quarter, maybe $half size hail and a few isolated spots, torrential rain, frequent lightning. It'll be noisy. Folks are waking up from it or will be woken up from it. But just going to kind of keep an eye on that there. They did just extend the new severe thunderstorm warning as well now for Christian County and into Macon County, west of Decatur. That's that Springfield cluster there. And that's actually going to be for some ping pong ball size hail there, Kevin. You might be back with me.
Yep, I got you, bud.
If you are, the new warning kind of carried on there. So I'll fight my way through the midnight traffic here in Mahomet.
Careful there.
Have another update for you when we get down towards Seymour.
If you could stop by my house there and
here.
pick me up a little snack, I'll be all right.
Hey, I already raided my parents'
There you
house. So they had some leftover pizza for dinner, and then I had some coconut cookies and some Tostitos chips and salsa, just kind of snacking and grazing there. So
there you go.
I don't know. We'll see what's in your fridge here in a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so he's gonna be turning there and start heading back down there towards Seymour and keep going south and try to catch that storm that's going to come into southwestern Champaign County. So those of you maybe also now waking up because warnings now from Mount Auburn, Illiopolis, Niantic, Harristown, coming there to the west side of Decatur. Severe thunderstorm warning. So that whole little complex there, severe thunderstorm warning. But I got to tell you, it's really for, I'll zoom into it, this area right there. And I can go all the way down. It's south of Mechanicsburg, a little bit of hail. We were getting the higher reflectivity there. The purple color that you see there, that's some of that hail that we could see. So that is going to continue to track to the north and east. And so then you're clipping northern Christian County and around the Sangamon and Macon County line. And then we have our other cell here that we're watching. That is Cerro Gordo, north of Hammond. And what we'll do here is, again, show all of those lightning strikes because you had plenty of them. And I'm just going to do lightning strikes. Let's say lightning strikes over the last 5 minutes. But you can see them still lighting things up there pretty good. You're probably hearing some of that thunder north of Hammond, Beement, and east of Cerro Gordo. Some other cells down here towards Lovington. Again, right now, nothing that's got me going, whoa, we really need to watch that. Nothing right now has, piqued my interest so much to where I'm super concerned about a tornado. Okay. Right now, it's heavy rainfall. It's a little bit of hail, a lot of lightning. Okay. And that's essentially what we're kind of watching with all of these storms. I am hoping, that maybe we can kind of skirt any additional tornado warnings here for tonight. We'll see. There's still a little bit of time to watch us until 2 a.m. We'll see what the Weather Service says, Storm Prediction Center as well. If you think there's still a threat at all, see if there's any extension of that. But right now, these are good rainfall producers. They are storms with a ton of lightning in them. And again, maybe you get that occasional report of some quarter-size hail. I've just not seen the wind component be a big thing so far, as I'm just kind of looking at some of that data there, not seeing the wind be a huge thing on that. But maybe a little bit of hail, a little uptick in that, maybe between Beement and Hammond right now. I'll come back over and draw the bit. Look at those lightning strikes. You can see as those little icons pop up, each one of those, a new lightning strike that's occurred here in the last 5 minutes. So here comes our storm here. And this is, again, where we may have a little bit of that hail trying to form. You get into some of those purple colors there. So that's just south of Monticello. So some of that may start to come into Champaign County. There's Jacob. Here's a little icon. So he's diving south there on 47 now. Okay. And then he'll kind of cut across and watch that storm as it comes into southwest Champaign County. You can see him on the bottom right-hand portion of your screen. Let's see here. Just kind of looking at some of the chat messages here. People asking, about their cities. And here's what I can tell the folks here, just general. I mean, we've just got a mess of storms right now. I mean, they're everywhere. Okay, we've got a few that maybe a little bit more organized, where there's that hail threat right now. Nothing is tornadic. There is a tornado watch in effect for the counties you're about to see here until 2 a.m. And that's the ones there. Okay. That is for about the next 18 minutes. Could they extend it? I'm not completely sold on that. But there's still going to be the threat for these thunderstorms over the next hour or two. Okay. I'm not fully convinced that they're going to do that. Okay. But we've got the storms here. And boy, it's coming down in some areas. We'll see what this thing does. We'll see if they actually carry this warning into Champaign County or not. 50-50 on that happening. If that hail core kicks up a little bit more. But again, just look how kind of unorganized some of it is. It's just a little storm here, a little storm there. You're getting some of that rain-cooled air. You're not sustaining, a large updraft for a long period of time. It's going to start to cool down. So maybe that could limit some of that severe thunderstorm opportunities. We'll see, folks. We're just here with you. We're riding along with you. This is the nowcasting part of the night. We're just looking at the radar. It's the radar and interpretation portion of the night. And there are storms just dotted all across the area, but nothing that's making me go, hey, folks, take shelter. There's nothing like that yet. But yeah, you don't want to be outside holding up a golf club right now. That's my recommendation. There's a lot of lightning in the storms out there, and just kind of be careful because there's going to be some heavy rainfall moving over maybe some of the same areas at times. So we've got the 2 warnings in effect. Hail by Roberts. Yeah, a little bit there. Or maybe a little bit there, south of town. There's a little sliver. A little purple color showing up there. It's not too bad. Not warned yet, but that's very similar radar signature
cold spot
to the one that is warned. It's down here near Illiopolis. There you go. Here's your storm right along there. Okay.
Wow, look at that pocket of hail east of Monticello.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. So pocket of hail there east of Monticello is starting to kick up a little bit. Jacob, you keep diving south, bud.
Drive into it.
That's going to be you.
I'm going to drive into it.
That's got your name written on it there. We'll see if they carry that.
I'll be heading to Monticello Road from Seymour.
Monticello Road from Seymour. So again, hold on
That'll
here.
be my plan.
Oops, sorry about that. Try to do this button instead. All right, there's Jacob again. Let's see. And isn't that cool, guys? Being able to see his location there on the map in relation to where the storms are. Something we added here recently, and I think it kind of helps everybody. Not just us here, but people at home kind of seeing where he's at. So you can kind of get an idea of what he's looking at into the storm. And so there he is there.
I think management just wanted to track me.
Yeah, I wanted to keep their eye on you there, know where he's at. Make sure he's not chasing tornadoes.
Which drive-in's he going to today?
Well, that too. Yeah, exactly. Well, that thing's going to be coming on you there pretty quick there. Looks like it's that hail core is going to be right on the Champaign-Pike County line. So
7 minutes to Monticello Road.
Oh, look.
It might be.
So you're just now getting into, that is considered light rain on the radar, believe it or not. That's light rain. So when he gets into the red and potentially pink-purple color, It'll be a lot heavier. Now, let's see here. I believe, is that flashing light in front of you? Yeah, no, that would be. That is our tower, right?
That's our TV tower.
Yeah, our TV tower.
Sure is.
Okay, so that's
Sure is. I'm turning left now.
So, yep. See right on the right side.
Lovely metropolis of Seymour here.
There you go. So there he is coming into Seymour, and again, you're going to be catching that storm that's coming out of Piatt County there and heading into far western Champaign County. Let's see what the weather service said, if they've said anything. I haven't said anything about continuing this warning on. Tornado watch canceled.
Some of the tornado watch.
Yeah, they dropped the whole thing.
Hey, there you go.
That's some good news. So, look at that. I think that's what a lot of folks wanted to see. Right? Tornado watch canceled.
Yeah.
Some good news. 1:47 a.m. They canceled it 13 minutes early. That means they probably had some pretty good confidence. And yeah, when we look at things here on radar, heavy rain, a lot of light, a little bit of hail. And that's kind of the extent of it here now. I hope we can keep this trend up. Keep this up. Keep seeing these storms not get too out of control. Jacob, you're getting into the heavy stuff now. He's getting into the heavy stuff now.
Woo, free car wash.
Free car wash. Yeah, there you go. Ooh, that hail core is just to your south. Just to your south. The lightning picking up.
Thinking about
heading east.
Thinking about turning east here. Maybe in the next, I might go one more mile south and then turn east. So I just passed 1400 North Road, so that'd be what 1300 North Road's my next one. So I'll probably turn east on that. And I think that'll carry me. I'm trying to remember if that's Curtis Road or if I'm still at Windsor.
Yes,
Road.
1300 is Curtis. 1300 is Curtis.
So I'll turn east on that one, and that'll carry me into Curtis Road in town. Yeah, it keeps it up. There might be a little bit of hail for a small strike through town, but this rain, I'm happy to see this rain. It feels like it's been the rainiest week in years that we've had.
We've not had all this rain for a while, that's for sure. So there he is, right there. Okay. He is coming up on 1300. Okay, he's on County Road 200, 1300 there. Got that little hail core to his south, but he's going to try to bust a little bit to the east because it's probably going to pass him. So he's going to go here, and this is Curtis Road. Okay, and he will try to get ahead of it before it comes into southwestern Champaign, southwest side of town. So there he goes.
There we go.
Making the turn. Now it's going to be on that county road. Not a lot of people out there here. 1:50 a.m. Look out for the deer, though.
You are not wrong about that. There's been enough of them running around.
All right.
I think it's starting to get to the time of season where they're
starting to what?
I think it's that time of year where they're start to get pretty active when it starts to warm up. So I'm sure. It seems like they always have a sixth sense. Like right before storms, they're always out, and then once the rain hits, they kind of go hide for a bit. So.
All right. So right now that hail core is got to be coming in right up on top of you. Or at least the heavy rainfall there is probably going to pick up in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like it's maybe a mile south of me, barely.
Yeah, about a mile south of you. There he is. Well, hail core's come down a little bit, but
Yeah.
Not much, not much. Heavy rainfall. Pretty disorganized. Everything just kind of. It's like Bob Ross did his color of paints and just threw it all over the map there. Not your typical organized. Hey, listen, what we had at 4 o'clock today. I mean, those were discrete, kind of textbook supercells that developed eventually, and especially towards Kankakee. When that thing happened, those were, and that's what it looked like. This was earlier in Kankakee. Look at that shot right there. That's the tornado Jacob was on earlier today. Look at that thing. Look at that thing. Again, that was earlier in Kankakee, and a lot of damage that they had with those storms that came through. Jacob was there minutes after it happened. And also, if you're familiar with the Aroma Park area, that's where a lot of the damage was. So this was earlier today. A lot of power lines down, a lot of people without power there as well. All right, Jacob shot there. Looks like you're in the thick of it now. You're in the thick of it.
Yeah, there's some big raindrops here, and it's coming down. It's a little bit. I can still kind of see the edge of the road, but
okay. Can you
haven't
see?
had any hail.
Can you see? Okay.
Yeah, some big old fat raindrops, and coming down pretty quick here. So we'll take it. We'll take every. Ooh, that's nice lightning shot there.
A little bright lightning.
That's to my right. There's. Yeah, some free flash photography from Mother Nature here. I'm sure there'll be some folks waking up to the thunder and lightning in Champaign-Urbana proper here before long. But just these clusters of storms coming on through.
Yeah, that lightning strike here is. I'm just kind of holding it up
Yeah,
on.
heard a little hail there.
Boy, that lightning strike was actually really close to you. To be honest with you, the lightning strike was about a mile to your south.
I can see it out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
So.
Oops, there we go. Zoom this back out again. If you're in Champaign, there's nothing severe, but you're gonna have some thunder and some lightning, and may wake you up. It is approaching 1:54 a.m. We still have, is there really 1,000 people, 1,100 people watching here?
Hey, there's not much on TV at 2 in the morning.
Not much on TV, so come watch these guys, right? But we're here with you. We're watching the storm. We've talked about, the storms here, kind of all week, and there was a really high potential for a bad situation. Again, the tornado that occurred, oh boy. Yeah, look at that shot. Look at you. You see the rain just coming by. Look at that. Woo. Some would say that a storm like this lulls them to sleep, and they like a good old-fashioned thunderstorm and say, I love this. That's me. But there's the complete opposite that hate storms and have storm anxiety and don't like storms at all. So it runs the gamut. Or lightning there.
Just keeping a little eye on Iroquois County. Looks like south of Onarga, maybe a little hail, but I keep seeing that outflow boundary pushing more and more south. It just undercuts everything, and that's great. We love that. That's that southward flowing boundary. If you think of the setup originally, Kevin, we were a little worried how that lake-cooled air mass would impact storms, and if it kept pushing south, a lot of times when you get a south-moving cold front or south-moving outflow boundary, it just undercuts storms all day long, and that would have been great to do that for the storm today. But it didn't, and then we were dealing with that Kankakee County situation up there with the considerable tornado damage that occurred in Kankakee and off to the east towards Aroma Park and on the way into Indiana. And we'll learn how that devastation ended up before long. But the south moving boundary now, this rain, it's got a cold pool behind it. So right now I'm still at 65 degrees, but that cold air from storms to the north there, cutting this off, and that keeps any real tornado threat at bay here tonight, which is great news. Also keeps the rain coming, which we also really like. So nice soaking rains coming in pretty much the whole western half of Champaign County and moving into Champaign proper, over to Monticello and right down I-72 towards Springfield. Still got that warning. I think that drops in a minute or two, doesn't it, Kevin?
Actually,
it expires there for.
They've dropped them all.
Oh, did they?
No warnings.
Great news.
Pulled up
maybe a little bit of hail by Forsyth, but
yeah. There's still maybe strongest part down there near Forsyth. Pulled up the old Neal Street camera here at the station because it's just starting to pick up a little bit here. Very little traffic usually at 2 a.m. along Neal Street. You'll see the occasional car kind of come by, but a flash of lightning there. Those typical areas that tend to flood along Neal Street, if you've been here long enough, you know where those are, right? So you're getting the heavy rainfall. Nothing is severe. If you're waking up in Champaign County, if you're waking up in Macon County, these are good old-fashioned thunderstorms. Nothing that has a tornadic characteristic to them. Nothing that has extreme damaging winds with them. There's maybe a little bit of hail. And when I say little, I mean, we're not even seeing quarter-size hail here. Think about that. We're not even seeing quarter-size hail, which is 1 inch. And earlier today in some areas, they had 5-inch hail. Wow. So these storms here are some pea-size hail, possibly, okay? Maybe you get up to some dimes. But for the most part, this is what we've got. Heavy rainfall, and lightning. So for those of you that are watching here with us, we're just kind of hanging here to get you through some of these storms. See if there are any other warnings get issued. Some good news is that the tornado watch no longer in effect. They've allowed it to cancel. Okay. And it's done. And with no other storms looking like that they're taking on any of those tornado characteristics, that's boding well for us here through the rest of the night. I'm just going to glance at some of the model data to see if it has kind of come on board with this, increased weakening trend or not. And kind of hard to say. I'd be honest with the models. Models here tonight haven't been the best. They've kind of been showing one thing, but sometimes it doesn't exactly kind of pan out exactly as what the model says. But it still shows these storms kind of going into, pretty early into the morning hours here. And I'm just kind of looking at a few things. It's interesting. We've got some, still some decent shear, some what we call wind shear. We just don't have a lot of that instability. It's really starting to wane now. And I think that happened with the storms that kind of popped up a little bit everywhere. And so then you kind of dilute things a little bit and rob some of that instability for these storms to tap into. And that's kind of happened as we just kind of sprinkled and dotted the entire area with storms here tonight. Bring back up the radar here for you. It is now 2 a.m. 2 a.m. on the dot. Good morning to you. It's been a long day for some of us. And we're still here with you, showing you some of the storms as they come through. Nothing severe at this point. No tornado watches, no tornado warnings, no severe thunderstorm watches, no severe thunderstorm warnings. Heavy rainfall coming into Champaign. Storms up here towards the Lipston area, towards Woodworth, the Iroquois County, Crescent City, Goodwine. Storms down here into Macon County, Forsyth, maybe a little bit of small hail in there. Marietta, Cerro Gordo, Oakland. Storming pretty good still as well along that I-70 corridor. Ferris Denton, Illiopolis, Buffalo, Mechanicsburg. Still some other storms Pleasant Plains, Ashland. But none of these currently have any warnings on them, which is some great news. Jacob's out there at Curtis Road and 57, I'm going to guess. You got
That'd be right. It's just good soaking rain coming on here. I haven't had any wind. I think I heard 2 hailstones that sounded pretty small earlier on. And so I think this has turned into about the best case scenario for us in Central Illinois today. And looking at the system as a whole, knowing that afternoon round, I feel really fortunate for our viewers in our immediate coverage area, but I know that that's been a bad situation for Kankakee County. That tornado was 6 miles outside of our viewing area. Very close bit of margin there. Just move that storm 10 miles south and it's a different story, I think. But pretty lucky then to have this afternoon round just to the northern edge of the area, and then this evening and overnight here, everything kind of lining up and just dumping some torrential rain. So that'll be kind of the big thing we have to watch. And we'll see, Kevin. I don't think I'm going to be out a whole lot longer here, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. Somebody just walked in here just in time. Adam's in here. Adam has joined us. Is it raining out there, Adam? He says it's raining a little bit outside. Live report. So I saw Adam when I came into work at 2:00, and we handed the baton off, and now it's 2:00 in the AM, and now he's back. We're here. Yeah, Jacob, listen, man, I just, could there be that little sneaky little storm that decides to go rogue? Possible, but man, it just looks pretty disorganized here so far. Can it kind of...
You know what, Kevin?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you know what? It sounds like it's Adam's problem, if that's the case.
It sounds like it might be Adam's problem. Yeah, that's a good point. It's about to be his problem. He can deal with that here. All right, let me just double check here. There are...
That outflow boundary just keeps kicking so far south where, it's undercutting everything, and that's great news. I'll be really interested to see the rain reports, 15-minute rain reports and stuff like that, because a little while here, I don't think it's out of the question that we get a fast inch or two in some areas from this. And there's still some storms down in southwest Missouri, but I don't know if the new outlook come out, Kevin. Did it include for technically today? When is it? Wednesday today? Today's Wednesday now.
Today's Wednesday.
It's a new severe SBC out. I got it. The new SBC outlook. Did that include any of our southeastern counties for this morning after 6 a.m.?
No, maybe barely the marginal trying to come in. Here, let me pull it up. I think it'll pull up. Let me see. Yeah, there it is. No, it's Slivers, Edgar, and Clark, and so no, it didn't really include anything. So they're not thinking, hey, redevelopment to occur. So that's some good news there. We're getting the rain though, man. It's coming down pretty good. Let me see if I can't pull up our Neal Street camera again and maybe. There we go. Neal Street. There it is. Oh, yeah. Goodness. Yeah. Hardly see there. Very little traffic there traveling along Neal Street at 2 a.m. Is that typically what it's like, Adam? I guess it is.
I think someone heard on photo.
Okay, more people out than you thought. Free car wash. There we go.
Wow, where did I hear that before?
Yeah, exactly. You guys and your free car washes here. I just go to car washes that are out of service a lot. All right, let me just do another glance at things here. Let's get a new set of eyes on things. Adam, you see anything crazy? I sure don't.
One cell that was up north by
Yep. Yep. So,
The lightning out there wasn't impressive.
yeah. There you go. Well, still 1,000 of you that are watching here with us tonight. You guys are just some real hardcore weather junkies. That's right. So hopefully many of you are relieved that the severe weather didn't, fully pan out down this way. And I said this earlier about how close we were with that Kankakee tornado. It was 6 miles away from, northern Iroquois County, whether it was, Chapans or what is that? A wind? A little wind out there? Oh, it's hitting the door. Hey, that wind is. Oh yeah. Hey, I gotta come back to that. Sorry, it's been a long day. I'm just like, whoa, look at that.
You can see
A little gust coming across. Yeah, I can really hear I know you guys can't hear, but in the studio we can hear the wind hitting yeah, all of it. A little lightning. So we've got the camera here at Neal Street, our tower camera, and then Jacob's camera there. We've got Champaign covered right now. Yeah, just look at those kind of bands rolling across.
We'll see if our favorite flood spots on Neal here, coming up the corner, up over the hill here, have much water on them yet. That'll be something to see.
Okay, I just gotta. Just answering a couple text messages here from folks. I tell you, there's a little pocket of that wind. I mean, literally just right through Champaign. It's like there were some people commenting about it too, saying, "Yeah, the wind's a little bit stronger than I thought." What do you think, Jacob? Your shot looks pretty good too.
Yeah,
Unimpressed.
it's blowing, but yeah, no, sometimes I think too is a lot of times people really do overestimate the wind. You think about what it takes to get trees to come down and whatnot. There's some gusts here, but we've had far worse. And, it's coming. It's the sheets of rain, I think, too, because I can hear the rain hitting in the sheets, which probably adds to the effect. There's probably some 30, 35 mile an hour gusts here. I'd be curious what Willard is. But here, this next block, I'm sitting at St. Mary's Road in Neal, and this next little half mile is usually where it floods. And the rate it's coming down to me, yeah, there might be some gusts pushing 40, 45 here.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And then the road might be starting to pick up a little bit here.
That looks pretty good. I gotta tell you, I'm looking at just the velocity, and there are some pockets in there showing some 50 mile an hour winds. So yeah, you might have that 50 coming right through Champaign and Savoy. All right, so Jacob, you're about to travel
Kind of reminds
on the.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a tropical storm type of thing. Like the torrential sheets of rain and
Yeah.
the wind. I mean, it's blowing, but I think this is that stretch that typically
Floods.
right here, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
And
We're
there you
gonna get
go.
over.
Let's see.
Doing well.
Let's see. Okay, what do we got? Anything? They usually flood,
No.
doesn't it? Did they fix that there? No, I thought it was kind of flooded.
I think they did.
Maybe they fixed it.
There's a little bit of standing water rushing there in the southbound lanes, but it's nothing crazy.
Adam said he thinks that usually Springfield and State floods pretty good.
Yeah, I can see the water in the southbound lanes kind of filling in and heading down the gutters. But let's see.
Well, you can see that. You can see the stoplight. You can see the stoplight kind of going up and down.
Yeah, the Kirby Road underpass is fine. So there's some lightning there.
It's
yeah,
funny.
this is the kind of weather I'd like to be home sleeping in bed.
Yeah, I agree. And Adam made a really, interesting point. He goes, well, Jacob sounds so unexcited about this storm because of what he saw 8 hours ago. The bar is very high.
That is true. Saw a significant tornado and a little 45 mile an hour gust. Yeah, that's not much, but
yeah.
I'll do a turnaround. There might be some water in the southbound lanes here. I might turn around in front of the First Federal and just go drive around. I mean, it's 2:11 a.m. People are watching. What else are they doing, Kevin?
Yeah.
Let's give them what they want.
Hey, there you go.
I'll do what my. I remember growing up, and there'd be water on the side of the road.
Oh man!
Here we go. My
Get
dad
us
would
in trouble.
just kind of catch the edge of it and
Catch the edge.
let it splash up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't splash too much.
Oh, we
there.
couldn't see it there.
But yeah, see it.
Oh, is that?
Oh, somebody's running. Somebody's running up here.
What? And what is this guy doing? No way! Oh man!
I have no idea.
Oh, look at him! What is he doing? Oh man! He's got a trash bag over the top. That looks like. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Making his way
I think
back.
he just ran for McDonald's there.
Might have. Got a little bite there.
All right.
Oh, look out! Oh, that was some loud thunder.
Yeah, it looked like it struck over on campus.
Let's see here. Did you get a hail report? We did. Forsyth had 1.5-inch hail on that storm. We were talking about that hail near Forsyth.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Let me take a look here. A little query of our hail icon. And yeah, hail, 1.5 inches, 1:55 a.m. So just 18 minutes ago. Forsyth had the hail. Let me run the radar back so I can look at it. Yep, it was that little hail core right there. Clear this off. So again, this was 20 minutes ago. This was some of that hail. So maybe on the southeast side of town there. So 1.5 inch. That's 10
Are there any power outage numbers or anything, Kevin, like that as well?
Power outage numbers.
1.5 is ping pongs.
1.5 ping pong. My brain's not working. I'm just kind of showing some of the storm reports from today as well. And notice the one indicator with the hail is the first storm report we had south of that line that we had. So all the other ones came with those earlier storms, and look at them just lined up there when that storm started to get going north of El Paso this afternoon. The tornado there in Pontiac, as you can see, all the hail reports, and there were some huge hail reports there. And then you stretch to the east, and then here's where it tornadoed again off there south of Kankakee, and then all the way into Indiana. Big time damage there in Lake Village. And then look at those tornadoes all the way into Indiana there. Yeah. That's crazy.
That was getting a little close to Adam's place, I think, wasn't it?
Getting a little close to Adam's stomping grounds there. Yeah, they're just south of you. All right. Yeah. We are still getting that. I mean, I would love to know what our rain is here. Lightning strikes are still going bonkers.
Hey, just make sure you don't leave the garage door open.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me see here. I can't.
Yeah, we could have a fun drive down Green Street. I think this is about the bar closing time.
No, I think that's long closed probably by
It
now.
close at 1 a.m. or
I don't know. I think it varies.
that's true.
Again, folks, those that are watching here, there's nothing severe about any of these storms that we've heard. I mean, I know it sounds like it. You're hearing the thunder and the heavy rainfall and the hail and the lightning's going crazy, and nothing actually considered severe at this point. But good old-fashioned storms, some urban flooding maybe in some areas, so be careful there. And looks like Jacob is about to make his return here to the station. Who wants to see Jacob?
Yeah.
Who wants to see Jacob? Oh, okay. Well, I guess he turned. See Jacob have to run through the rain.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if. No, I'm not doing that. Oh, they're gonna drive down Green Street and
See
there's
if
some
anybody's
restaurants
out.
down here that are open late. You need any deliveries there?
Yeah. No, I think I'm good. Let's stop by
Probably some
Cam's.
pizza,
We'll
some
stop
fat
by
sandwich down
Cam's.
here.
Pay that. I heard they were charging like $40 and $50 covers or something. I don't know, this past weekend for their unofficial. That's unofficial, by the way. I just could be. It's unofficial.
Was it
report.
last
See what I
week?
did
Was
there?
unofficial? I didn't even notice.
Yeah. Yeah. Things
Now
to
I'm gonna
talk-
sound like a grumpy old man, but back in my day,
my
when
day.
unofficial.
things you talk about at 2:18 a.m. when there are no warnings in effect and you've been here for 12 hours. So here we go.
I think this is the delusional part of the night. We're all
This
tired. We're all
always
awake.
happens. Always happens to us. Hey, shout out to Madison. Madison's been
Just
the one punching all the production stuff by himself back there, and he's doing a real good job tonight. He's doing a good job by himself.
Yeah.
One man show.
Good for him.
These hours used to be
We're
our-
still
Yeah,
mad
yeah,
at him for leaving. He used to be the morning show
Madison used
producer.
to be the morning show producer. That's right. And so, kind of transitioned different roles now and directed our severe weather coverage for us. So, yeah, man, for sure. So we got to send the rest of the production crew home, and then not even call in the early morning production crew. I told them to, come at the regular time because we're good. It looks like, so that's good. So, don't worry, Madison, we're almost done. I promise, we're almost done. We'll get Jacob out of there and
Oh
there you
no!
go.
Oh no! We're gonna keep him as long as we can.
Again, I know there's people that are in Champaign and now probably in Urbana and St. Joe, and they're going, "What is going on? It is storming like crazy. There's a ton of lightning and Decatur and Forsyth." I guarantee you, we're probably the only ones here at 2:20 in the morning that are still even talking about storms. Would I be accurate in that? I can't say for sure because I'm not watching any of the other guys, but I'm just gonna throw that out there. If I was a betting man, which I am.
Yeah. Careful, Kevin.
Oh boy. Glad everybody stayed safe. Here you feel for the people up there in Kankakee, Aroma Park, over into Lake Village in Indiana. Several spots there, I think, light of day. Jacob was just on that. And we'll show the video one more time because it was, you were right on the storm. It was a great video. There it is. Look at that. There's a tornado. I was in Kankakee, South Kankakee. Look at that spin. Look at that. And then he came upon the damage there minutes after. As a matter of fact, Jacob, would you like to share how you almost got stuck there because of all the debris and because police came in and started shutting down roads, right?
Yeah, am I allowed to tell the full story, or what are we doing here?
I mean, you tell me.
We'll see. I doubt our bosses are listening this late at
just
night.
in case they go back and watch.
Yeah, if you want to email our bosses, it's news@WICA.com. There we go. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, again, you're looking at that damage
So,
there. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So on a more serious note, that tornado touched down on the southwest side of Kankakee. So, if you're heading to Chicago, typically some of the lowest gas prices between here and Chicago are either in Cheban's or they're at the rest of the exit with the Speedway and the Love's truck stop on the south side there on 45. And the tornado passed. If you're driving north, you go around the first curve there, you hit the exit, and the airport's on your right. The Kankakee County Sheriff's Office is on your right. And then to the left is the Walmart. It touched down right behind the Walmart. And the most incredible thing about it, Kevin, is I met some chasers afterwards, and we were sharing videos and stories. We all said the same thing. From the moment it touched down to within 90 seconds, it turned into a quarter-mile wide stovepipe wedge tornado. It grew very quickly in size there, and so just some really rapid growth. That was the optimal zone for tornado formation right there on the warm front. So that's the video that you saw there. My location, you kind of have an issue there. I had two options to get in there. One of them was to either stay close to it and kind of cut north. And as the storm got north of us, that's when you're seeing this video and started moving east. So the contrast wasn't great for me. But the river that is there, there's no good routes. You either got to go all the way into Kankakee and cross the river, or you got to drop south 3-4 miles. And I wasn't willing to lose the tornado to go 3 or 4 miles south. I would have missed it entirely. And I wasn't going to drive north into Kankakee because the hail up there was ginormous. Where there was tornado damage, at one point I was looking around and thinking, oh, wow, this is like, you're used to seeing, I've seen before, pieces of insulation from outbuildings that's in the fields. And that was what I first thought. But then I quickly realized it was still 45 minutes later, and it was baseball-sized hail still laying on the ground. That gives you an idea. An hour later, it was the size of baseballs. That much time melting. I mean, there was 4 or 5-inch hailstones with that storm through the Kankakee area on top of that. It's going to be really interesting to see the damage reports coming, Kevin, from that by morning. There's some pretty serious situations as well that are picking up. So some pretty significant damage reports coming across the state line as well. Of course, Kankakee on the south side there, Aroma Park, had some pretty serious damage. And then off to the east into Indiana, Lake Village had a direct hit. And then Wheatland, Indiana also had a direct hit. And some of the reports we've been hearing are concerning. I've not heard anything confirmed in the casualty department yet, but there was quite a bit of damage, some direct strikes from those tornadoes to those towns as well. And so there's probably an 80-mile path of, looks like maybe 2 tornadoes at least, Kevin, but 2 longer track tornadoes there carrying on through. And so there's your one. So we'll see what comes from that. I don't want to estimate strength, give you a number, but we rate tornadoes after they go through. Think of it as a crime scene. We know it was a tornado. We can tell how strong it was based on the damage left behind. And I think it's going to easily be a significant tornado. We consider a tornado significant when it gets to the EF2, and that scale again goes from 0 to 5. We'll see how far up the list it goes. Of course, it's going to depend on how long the damage track was, because if it produced the strongest damage in Indiana, but touchdown in Kankakee, there's a lot of things the National Weather Service is going to have to do with that tornado as it went on through potentially multiple tornadoes. So it was pretty interesting there. And we can take it all the way back, Kevin. I was sitting in Champaign, and we saw that tower go up there. When I say tower, the initial updraft go up. Yeah. And that was going to be west of Bloomington. And kind of that's going to be the storm. And Pontiac was a pretty good rotation as well, but really ramped up as it caught the warm front there. Near
and then Livingston County had that huge hail, and I've got the picture there from Campus, Illinois. Campus in Livingston County, 5-inch hail.
Yeah, that's east of Dwight, southeast of Dwight there.
Southeast of Dwight, just the occasional 5-inch hailstone, no biggie. And here's the thing: like that Kankakee hail probably was, initially, you caught it when they were probably baseballs, a half an hour, 45 minutes after it fell. So it definitely melted a little bit. So that could have easily been what, 3.5-inch hail. So when it was coming down. So pretty wild stuff there with that. Okay, what do you think? We're about to wrap this thing up. You think? Hand it over to Adam, and if there's anything that happens, then it's on him.
Yeah, good luck, Adam. That's what we'll say.
So just a quick little look at radar again. Yes, I know some of you are watching us down in Tolono, and you're like, "Whoa, it is storming pretty good down here." Yeah, it is. There's a nice little cell, or I should say Philo, in St. Joe and Ogden. Good old-fashioned storm. Nothing here is severe at this point. Okay. All of these cells
You might.
below.
Looks like the intersection here is pretty flooded.
That is pretty flooded.
This is
Oh,
gonna
what do you
be
got there?
5th and Springfield.
5th and Springfield.
A little bit.
Ooh.
A little bit of water.
The water.
I'm guessing it's construction related. They're putting up a bunch of new apartments around here, and things are all torn up. So nothing crazy. You might just peek there west of St. Louis. As well.
I
Just
know.
check that,
I saw that. I saw that. Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you. Okay, there was a tornado warning there briefly. They've opted to go severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible tag. This is a cell well to our south and west. Okay, as the crow flies, as they say, from Champaign, that storm is a good 173 miles away. Okay, pretty good distance. So that's going to be something that Adam is going to watch during the overnight hours here. If it would, let's just say this thing would track and kind of come in. Okay, maybe that's hitting our southern counties. So we're just going to watch. But I would genuinely be surprised. But
Also, that line northward is like going south.
sagging. Yeah,
south,
because if this line continues to sag a little south, cut it off. But I guess that's the thing that we'll watch. And I know that's not what people completely want to hear. I mean, I will say this, like, we're largely kind of got through this unscathed a little bit, but I mean, the Storm Prediction Center doesn't even have a slight risk out for the area, for tomorrow morning. So there's that. So, Jacob, any final thoughts here? We'll kill it here right at 2:30 on the dot. You got 30 seconds. Give me your best.
It'd be interesting to hear the reports that come from Kankakee County and what the National Weather Surveys. They've got a lot of damage to go through. I think that our messaging was pretty good with that potential conditional, significantly dangerous risk with a couple of storms. Thankfully, it wasn't our area, but of course, some of our neighbors to the north, not so fortunate. And with that, I'll be pulling to the station, but I may just drive the storm tracker home. And that way, if Adam calls, I can turn it on and go back to work.
Okay. Well, again,
I took a 5-hour energy. I took a 5-hour energy 3 hours ago, so I still got 2 hours to go.
Got 2 hours left in him, he says. Well, there you go. Listen, I know there's a lot of people who are watching, and I get Ogden's getting hit hard. Crazy thunder in Royal right now. Thundering in Jacksonville. Right now, these are just good old-fashioned thunderstorms. They don't have 60-mile-an-hour winds. They don't have, quarter-size hail. They don't have tornadoes in them right now. There's nothing of that right now. I don't care where you're watching us here in Illinois. None of those storms have that right now. We're going to monitor it and obviously keep you up to date on anything. Yeah, that storm there coming into Vermilion County, it's going to storm pretty good there in Oakwood, Fairmount, and maybe Danville here in the next little bit. Potomac's in a pretty good little storm, but there is nothing severe at this moment. So again, it's 2:30 a.m. We're going to wrap up our little digital coverage here for you. If we get any other additional warnings, if this little thing that's been out here in Missouri decides to want to hold together, we'll obviously pop back on. But right now, And if I can show it here, let's see if I can pull back up the temperature graphic. And this will be a little bit, actually I can show the current conditions, temperature, and
It's from our viewing area, so.
yeah, it's still pretty far. So we're in the upper 60s. We're still in the upper, no, that's high temperatures. I was like, wait, we are not in the upper 60s right now. Sorry, I pulled up the wrong graphic. I'm like, what? How about current temperatures? Here we go. Okay, 60 degrees.
That's a cool one.
59 in Springfield, still 67 Taylorville, Mattoon, Effingham. So yeah, I guess we've got to watch that storm coming out of St. Louis area there, but we have got you covered in case. You know the drill, you know how we roll around here. We'll pop on, we'll let you know. Adam's going to be here. We're all going to probably still be watching the radar anyways, hanging out. So if for some reason this storm here organizes a little bit more, that is well south of, or I should say, it's northwest of St. Louis, but may kind of creep in there, Montgomery, Macoupin counties, we'll let you know. But right now, any storm that's out there below severe limits. So listen, I know it's storming good in Ogden, and you're getting some good rain in Royal and Potomac, Homer, Fairmount, Oakwood here, and Danville in just a little bit. We're going to wrap things up. We're going to wrap things up here at 2:30 a.m. Okay. And wish you all the best. We'll catch you on the next one. Jacob waves goodbye. He says so long. We do the same with you here tonight, and we'll be back on if we need to. In the meantime, we bid you a farewell. Thanks for joining us here on the live stream. Hope everybody got some good info from this. Calm some of the fears. And as always, keep an eye on the sky. Have a good night. See you soon.